Let's sync the audio, alright? Hi, I'm Charlie. A year and a half ago, I put my arm into a hydraulic press. You know, for the bit. Now having one arm is my whole personality. I was originally going to do a tier list of arm amputee characters, but as I was researching for that idea, I noticed that proper representation of my experience of losing an arm is very hard to come by. 99% of the time you see a character lose their arm, they get a perfect prosthetic like a day later, and I mean perfect, like it's pretty much a normal arm. Most of the time even better. And then they just continue what they were doing before, but instead with a cool metal battle scar. And a lot of these characters are really interesting and have solid stories around them. Just so often the way writers handle their character losing an arm, or hand in a lot of cases, is pretty lame. A lot of movies, shows, and games put emphasis on the moment where the arm is lost and not enough on the aftermath. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is my favorite anime and manga, but Jesus, the way Araki handled Joseph losing his hand fucking sucks. He immediately gets a prosthetic hand, which he never takes off, then he wears gloves more than half the time, so you just forget that he's an amputee. What the fuck was the point of that? In contrast, after Finn loses his arm the first time, in the episode The Tower, we see him struggle getting used to having one arm, trying different half-baked prosthetics.
Thanks a lot, Dad!
Then he grows a
telekinetic electro-emotional prosthesis,
which works solely because of his built-up rage against his dad, who he blames for why he lost his arm. So he builds a tower to space so he can punch his dad and steal his arm. But it doesn't work out.
Hey, Dad.
Huh? Oh!
Give it.
My favorite arm. Oh no.
didn't help much, did it?
No. Wait, what?
Bong bong.
PB?
We're in the Candy Kingdom Fallout shelter. I brought you here after you passed out on the tower. You were hallucinating like crazy, so it was really easy to trick you. And look, the arm is gone too. See? So, what do you think?
Yeah, okay. Thanks, Princess.
So it's a big message about acceptance, and it's deep as fuck for a kid's show, and really relatable for me. But then a few episodes later, this bee wanted to bang the flower on his arm, then he grew a new one.
Yeah! Woohoo!
We had a good thing going, you son of a bitch. I guess the writers must have realized they fucked up though, because Finn loses his arm again 2 seasons later and gets a prosthetic.
Come on now, this is serious. And expensive.
At least prosthetic arms are based, usually very loosely, on a real thing. But Jesus, don't just reverse people's disabilities. What does that say to the disabled people who can relate to the character? Our character can't be crippled. What are you, stupid? Gross. This is a good rule of thumb, I think, if you want an interesting, disabled, yet also badass character. Don't make them overcome their disability, make them succeed in spite of it. Don't solve their disability, let them struggle to come to terms with it. I think a really good example is Jaime Lannister from Game of Thrones. At first, this guy's like a cocky douchebag. After he killed the Mad King, his personality hardened. He became way more nihilistic and unapologetically immoral. But then a bunch of stuff happens, he gets captured, but then a deal gets struck, and then he's traveling back to King's Landing with Brienne of Tarth, and yada yada yada, his hand gets chopped off. His sword hand, the hand that made him who he is.
My sword hand. I was that hand.
This is probably the biggest turning point for Jaime's character. His sense of self shatters, and his character softens as a result. There's even a baptism allegory to show that he's being reborn metaphorically. And we see the details of his amputation, and we get shown all the disturbing imagery, but more importantly, we see the mental toll this takes on Jaime. Also, he gets a prosthetic, and it's purely cosmetic. It's just for the aesthetics, and it's very poetic. Basically, I think Jaime Lannister is such a great representation of the experience of losing an arm or hand. It's also just more interesting story-wise. It gave him so much more depth. Okay, now I'm not saying that all arm amputee characters should have fully realistic prosthetics. No, of course not. No one can deny that Guts' cannon arm is cool as fuck. I'm not taking that away from you. But you know what would be cool? What if there was a significant part of the story where the character learns how to use the prosthetic? Because they always just know how to use the damn thing. Let me put Steven on for this. Gamer subs.
Use code CHAMPY2.
Prosthetic arms, especially the more advanced ones, they take a while to learn how to use, and they can be very frustrating. So wouldn't it be interesting if, like, your character was in a combat encounter and they were struggling to get their prosthetic to do the right thing? Yeah, put him up, you piece of shit. Hey, this guy comes up to you at a bar. He says like, hey, can I buy you a drink? Hey, pretty lady, can I buy you a drink? This is my COVID mask. The fuck? Yo, bro, you good? What was that beeping sound? Oh, it is out of battery. Steven ran out of battery. Shit. Well, that's the first time that happened. Case in point, I want to see more flawed prosthetic arms. Oh, fucking Christ! Ah! Oopsie. Anyway, yeah. Wouldn't that character be really interesting? Yes, I'm interested in that. This has probably been done before, but I don't know. Leave it in the comments. But if you're not gonna do that, just, can you show the stub, please? We want to see it.
If you're coming right now, let me see it.
Usually we just see this once when they lose their arm, and then when they get their prosthetic, never again. Getting fitted for a prosthetic takes a while. Isn't it weird how it's just like so fast all the time? What's up with that? You go to the prosthetic arm store, you say, hey, what's your stub size? 9.5 if it's Nike or whatever or something. Furiosa from Mad Max has a prosthetic, but she takes it off at one point, then she sacrifices it at the end of Fury Road. When we see a character with their prosthetic on all the time, we forget about their fucked up experience of losing their arm. When we see them with their stub, we're like, oh yeah, right, this guy has seen some shit. Side note about Furiosa, I just watched her origin story movie, and I thought that her losing her arm was going to be a major plot point, but it really wasn't. They like really dropped the ball on that. She chopped off her arm and ran away back to the Citadel, talked to the leader guy, the Slipknot looking guy. Losing her arm wasn't even mentioned, which I guess shows how tough she is. Like, oh, losing my arm isn't gonna stop me from being badass, but don't ignore it. So then she builds her own prosthetic arm in a montage, and it works great. And it looked like it didn't take her much time either. So, whatever, I'm not CinemaSins, okay? It's just a movie. Yeah. Losing a limb is life-changing, and not many characters do a good job of portraying that. I think a lot of this can apply to just disabilities in general, but I can't speak on behalf of all disabled people. Also, I lost my arm. I can't speak on behalf of people who were born with one arm. That's a different experience. I just feel like there are so many missed opportunities with these characters. My life was completely changed when I lost my arm. I went through so much character development. I'll talk about that someday. Okay, like and subscribe. Bye.